presenting the topic implementing blended learning models that is included in the module 2 of the VirtualEdu course for educators. It follows the Introduction to Remote Education module, the topic that was presented by Natasha. We can see here the skill card table that is related to this element with learning objectives. Also, I put learning objectives on the following slide. So after this presentation, you will be able to familiar yourself with blended learning definition, explain key characteristics of blended learning, identify blended learning models, analyze sequential and modular models of blended learning, and at the end, evaluate which blended learning model would be suitable for application in a certain context. So let's start with definition. You heard from Natasha in the first presentation that blended learning assumes delivery of educational programs that takes place partially online and partially in a traditional environment through direct content, or we say face-to-face. So the time in the classroom now is significantly reduced. It's not completely eliminated because it is combined with online learning. The proportion of online teaching or learning is not generally strictly defined. It can vary based on chosen blended learning approach or model. We will describe some blended learning models throughout this presentation. So we need to stress out that the greatest potential of blended learning is that it is natural evolution from traditional forms or approaches to learning that is personalized and individualized, and that is performed using ICT, information and communication technology. In addition to combining or blending online teaching and traditional teaching, we are also combining online environments and traditional face-to-face environment, online methods with traditional teaching and learning methods, as well as we are combining various media, various tools to deliver learning content and organize learning activities, especially those based on ICT. In this way, we can offer students different options, and they can then decide what works best for them. In addition, this helps us to avoid monotony. Of course, both an online and face-to-face components should be carefully designed, but special attention should be paid to the online part of blended learning programs. Since students are now learning independently, we need to motivate them and therefore create high-quality content that is interactive, visually attractive, also create a learning environment that is engaging and stimulating for students. One of the biggest disadvantages of online learning is lack of personal contact between students. So various communication activities should be also planned to facilitate communication and collaboration between participants. This includes communication in face-to-face environment, but also communication using different ICT tools, synchronous communication and asynchronous communication. Students should also be encouraged to support each other, to share their success. We should avoid usage of technology for those tasks that can be better done in classroom. And on the other hand, we should try to use the time in classroom as efficient as possible, not just for lectures, but other activities that will engage students. We can see here principles of well-designed blended learning program. All steps are clearly defined, announced on time. Most appropriate technology available is used. It saves time, promotes social culture among participants, and promotes active learning. So we have demonstrations, collaborative learning activities, problem and project-based learning activities, and similar. In the second part of the presentation, I will present different blended learning models. So according to the distribution of online and face-to-face teaching and learning, we can distinguish between 4 models. These are rotation model, flex model, enriched virtual model, and self-blend or so-called a la carte model. In the rotation model, students rotate between online activities and classroom activities. All students participate in all activities, but not necessarily at the same time or in the exact order. One popular variant of this module is flipped classroom. In flex model, students learn mainly online according to schedule, and teacher is there to provide face-to-face assistance only when it's needed. In enriched virtual module, students learn also mainly online, but there are some mandatory face-to-face activities that are led by teacher. In self-blend model, students supplement their traditional courses with online courses. Two basic approaches for blended learning that do not focus only on online and face-to-face teaching modalities are modular or core and spoke model and sequential or program flow model. These two models are particularly suitable for higher education and adults learner. So we will describe them now. So in modular model, teacher creates a core approach that is used by all students and then provides additional elements. These additional elements can be some modules, resources, and similar. They're called spokes, and they can be mandatory or optional, and their role is to complement the primary approach. The exact order of learning materials here is not predetermined. Students can decide by themselves if they want to use optional additional materials when they want to use it. So not all students have to complete a program designed according to modular model at the same time. On the other hand, in sequential model, all steps are precisely defined. So we have a sequence of steps, and students need to go through these steps one after the other, so in chronologically determined order. This model is particularly suitable for transition from face-to-face learning to blended learning. The development usually starts with replacing some live events with online learning activities, for example, reading online materials or similar. Here on this figure, we can see one example of such program flow. It starts with a kickoff event. Such kickoff event can be in form of email invitation or live meeting, and their objectives of the program are presented. Students are encouraged to enroll the program. They get insights to schedule their obligations and similar. During the first learning activity, students usually meet course content and or teacher, and this can also take place in face-to-face environment or as online activity. For example, students read first lesson that is prepared. This continues with further learning activities that are combined with assessments. Assessments are needed to allow teacher to determine the student's progress in learning. So such formative assessments can be, for example, self-assessments, tests, online discussions, and similar. And they allow teacher to determine if students are struggling with the course content, especially if the content was presented online. Program flow model usually ends with assessment that is used to measure learning success. So it's summative assessment that is also used for grading students. Here at the end we have feedback and conclusion. So feedback usually takes the form of student survey. Students in the survey have chance to express their opinions and attitudes about the components of the program, and this information serves to both teachers and course authors. They can use this information to improve the program. This sequential model, has many advantages. Students are usually highly committed to the program designed according to this module because there is a schedule that encourages them to not to fall behind. So usually large number of students successfully completes the program. The module also allows teacher to continuously monitor students' program. It's suitable for those programs where the certificate is issued at the end, and such programs can be easily modified, improved, new elements can be added if needed. When choosing adequate model for a certain context, it should be keep in mind that this sequential model is easiest to implement, and it's suitable for transition from face-to-face model to blended learning, since it allows us to gradually integrate different methods, different media and tools of online and face-to-face teaching. So we can say that modular model is also efficient, but we need participants who are motivated. It's also good that they are experienced in the field of study to be able to choose additional resources that will be beneficial for their learning. Of course, teachers can also combine parts of individual models with own ideas to create new blended learning models. I will finish also with key takeaways. So we need to remember definition that blended learning is a way of organizing educational programs that are offered partially online and partially in the traditional face-to-face environment. In addition to combining online and face-to-face teaching, in blended learning, we are also combining online methods with traditional teaching and learning. We are combining media and tools for delivering content and learning activities. There are, of course, many benefits of blended learning as well as remote learning in general, but also there are challenges that should be overcome. This can be ensured by providing teachers with resources and training, and also preparing students for successful learning. Blended learning programs need to be carefully designed, following the recommended principles, and for a start, it's recommended to use sequential model as it's the easiest blended model for implementation. Here you can see the references used for this lecture, this presentation, and I would like to thank you for your attention. I'm available for questions if you have any. Thank you very much.